Bore da pawb. Good morning, everybody. Before we start, I've been asked to ask if anybody needs the interpreter. We have a translator available. Does anybody need them? No. Jane? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Are you happy with that? Good. Thank you. So, Berwyn, dim isio fo. Thank you very much. Now then, we can start. Welcome to this morning's multi-location meeting of the Licensing Subcommittee. In addition to committee members, we also have non-committee members, cabinet members, officers and members of the public joining us to assist with our discussions. I can confirm that a sound check has been conducted before the start of the meeting, so I assume everyone can hear me. Thank you. The meeting will be recorded and live streamed and will be available for viewing after the meeting. Should the live streaming fail, the meeting will continue and the recording will be available through the Council's website following the conclusion of the meeting. For those of you online, if you wish to speak, please use the raise hand function. All microphones will be muted. If you have indicated your intention to speak, you will be invited to turn your microphone on. If you leave your device for any reason, can you please ensure you are muted and that you turn your video off? I expect everyone present and participating in this meeting to conduct themselves appropriately and be respectful to each other, and that applies to members, officers and anyone in the public gallery. Thank you for your cooperation in that respect. Right, moving on to the agenda. Item 1, apologies. Have we got any apologies here?
No apologies, Chair.
No apologies. Item 2, declarations of interest. Members are reminded that they must declare the existence and nature of their declared personal interest. Have we got any? No, we haven't. Urgent matters?
No urgent matters, Chair.
And I haven't got any either. Right, on with the meeting. Licensing Act 2003. Opposed application variation of the premises licence Manofa Avon Farm Park, Abergele. I will now go through the procedure for this hearing. Please bear with me. As I said, I'm Councillor John Roberts and I'm the chairman of this committee. The other members of this committee are Councillor Hannah Fleet and Councillor Sharon Dolman. We are here to consider an opposed application for a premises licence under the Licensing Act 2003. We are not aware of any interest or other reason which would prejudice our ability to hold a fair hearing and to make a sound determination of the matter. If any person in this room is aware of any reason why they feel that a member of the committee should not take part in this hearing, that person should now state their objection. Nobody. For the record, those of you who intend to form part of the hearing, would you please introduce yourself, including the applicant and his or her representative, officers, responsible authorities, interested parties, and I'm starting from the right of the room.
Councillor Sharon Dolman.
Microphone.
Councillor Sharon Dolman, the committee.
Councillor Hannah Fleet, member of the committee.
Just push the button.
There we go. I'm Jules Arrowsmith from Manor Avon Farm Park.
I'm Megan Jones from Manor Avon Farm Park.
Jeff Stewart, cabinet member.
Catherine Williams, Conwy County Borough Council solicitor.
John Donnelly, Principal Trading Standards and Licensing Officer representing the Head of Regulatory Services.
Maya Roberts, Licensing Officer for Conwy.
Jean O'Neill from Tannerout, live in Tannerout.
Norma Vucock from number 2 Fort Tannerout.
Chair, sorry, there are individuals online. They may be taking part, so just to.
Yes, I'm here.
Could you please introduce yourself? Thank you.
My name is David Searle, living at 16 Marford Drive. I have a colleague here, a friend who also lives near the farm.
72 Clifton Rise, David Hughes.
If you need to speak or want to say anything, there's a button there, the hand, so we can pick you up, all right? Or put your hand up or wave or whatever, so we know you're going to speak. Thank you. On we go.
Councillor Ross, just here to listen in if that's acceptable.
Thank you.
Councillor Ross, just listening in if that's acceptable.
That's fine. Thank you.
We can't hear you now.
So I'm not a member.
Can you hear me now?
We've lost audio, people.
Can you hear me now?
Councillor Ross, are you able to hear the chairman and myself?
I'm able to hear, yes. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Searle, can you
Hello,
hear myself?
we've lost audio.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. There's 7.
We'll continue. Could you please confirm that you all are in possession of the relevant paperwork and that you have a copy of the council's procedures for hearings? Everybody happy with that? Thank you. You happy with that? Yeah. Could I make particular reference to 1 or 2 points within the procedure for hearings that are of importance? This is not a court and strict rules of evidence need not apply. Evidence will not be given under oath, but I should remind all parties that the deliberate telling of untrue statements is a criminal offence under Section 158 of the Licensing Act. Any statement, comment or question must be addressed through me. I have and will exercise the right to intervene and interrupt any person if that person is providing evidence that is not relevant to the proceedings or the 4 licensing objectives. As a reminder, the 4 licensing objectives are the prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, the prevention of public nuisance, and the protection of harm to children. If any person behaves in an unruly, abusive or disruptive manner, I shall exercise my right as chairman to adjourn the hearing in order to have that person removed from the room. I will now hand to the head of licensing services, who will further advise you about the format of the hearing and present the application and report. Are we going to do that?
Sorry, Chair, just an interruption there. I just want to check that Mr. Searle's back in. He's not, no.
Are we going to wait? I'm quite happy to wait.
I wasn't sure whether if you'd had any messages or anything now. Okay, we'll continue with the report. It's just so we can keep an eye whether he comes back in. Yes, that's fine.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Donnelly.
The licensing authority has received an application to vary a premises licence submitted in accordance with the Licensing Act 2003 in respect of the above premises, Manor Avon Farm Park. As a consequence of the necessary consultation period and the required public notices, the licensing authority has received relevant representations opposing the application. The subcommittee is required to determine the application, taking into account all relevant facts and evidence. Acting in the capacity of the licensing authorities, members must seek to promote the licensing objectives. Where members consider matters have engaged one or more of the objectives, they may exercise their discretion. Members of the subcommittee are reminded that they may not exercise discretion in any case merely because it considers it desirable, and should provide reasons for any decision taken or where they might consider departing in any way from protocol, policy or guidance. The subcommittee must, having regard to the representations made, take such steps as are considered appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives. The subcommittee can grant the application subject to the relevant mandatory conditions and conditions consistent with the operating schedule, modify the application and or impose any conditions to such an extent that the authority deems appropriate to promote the licence and objectives, reject the application. On the 23rd of the 8th, 24, an application was submitted to the licensing authority for the variation of the premises licence. The premises known as Manor Asm Farm Park, Llandullas Road, Abergele, LL 228ET. The application, operating schedule and current licence are attached to Appendix A. All notices were published and displayed in the correct manner. Representations that have been deemed to be relevant by the Head of Regulatory Services have been received in respect of this application within the statutory 28-day period. Representations objecting to the application are attached to Appendix B. No representations were received from any of the responsible authorities. Members will note that in considering the application, they should take into account balancing the interests of owners, employees, customers and neighbours of the premises, the conditions already applied to the present licence, and the steps outlined by the applicant in the operating schedule and agreed additional conditions to promote the licence and objectives. Members should carefully consider the relevant sections of the Council Statement of Licensing Policy, in particular Section 3.4, 3.45, 3.46 and 3.49. 3.4, the licensing authority will balance the potential for limited disturbance in neighbourhoods with the need to encourage, promote live music, dancing and theatre. The licensing authority acknowledges the powers of the council and the police hold to issue a closure order on individual licensed premises that are causing nuisance as a result of noise admitted, and would encourage the relevant responsible authorities to use such powers wherever appropriate and inform the licensing authority if such powers are used. The above powers are also available to authorised officers by the Anti-Social Behaviour Act 2003 and will be used when deemed necessary and in accordance with the legislation. Members must also note that noise and disturbance arising from the behaviour of patrons that are left the premises are matters of personal responsibility and are subject to police enforcement of the normal law concerning disorder and antisocial behaviour. Members are also reminded that any conditions that may be added should be practical, enforceable and appropriate to promote the licensing objectives. The representations objecting to the application or the variation of the premises licence will cause public nuisance. Officers have carried out a site visit to ensure that the plan and information submitted are accurate. The premises has given notice of 6 temporary event notices since January 2023. The responsible authorities did not raise any objections and no complaints were received with regard to these activities. The present licence has been in effect since September 2022. Matters of parking in public places are not a matter that can be taken into consideration as part of this application, as the licence holder has no control where any person may park in a public place. Only one request was made to view the application, operating schedule and current licence. The licensing authority has not received any complaints with regard to the operation of this premise. The applicant, having considered the representations with regard to noise and nuisance, has submitted a supplementary document, Appendix C. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Donnelly. I now call on the applicant to make their case, please, and this will be followed by questions from the objectors. So, could you go for, yeah.
Well, thank you. As Mr. Donnelly has just pointed out, I want to make clear this is a variation of licence. So we already have a licence to conduct business as we already do. We're looking to extend and future-proof and give us greater flexibility to go a little bit later should we need to, or a little bit earlier. We don't want to upset anybody and want to maintain a good relationship with the local community, which until this application went in, I thought we had and largely have amongst the Abergele community. We've had the licence since 2022, but prior to that, we've had numerous temporary event notices. beyond the ones mentioned in the report, going back to sporadic events that we've had over the last 10 years, and not had any formal complaints. We've spoken, I'm sure Mrs. Bucock will talk in a minute, we've spoken over the summer holidays about dinosaurs, and prior to that, we haven't had any issues with noise being a disturbance, or not that I've been made aware of. We are a seasonal business, tourism-based business. Largely, we're closed for 7 months of the year. So from September through to March, we're only actually operational for 24 dates. And our aim is to provide and promote a wholesome activity for families, friends, not late night drinking or rowdy behaviour. We're a reputable business, and we wouldn't do anything to be detrimental to that. I also live on site with my young family. Again, I wouldn't want to subject them to noise going on partying into late in the night. That's not our intention. It's just to give us greater flexibility. Our license, we don't actually use it to its full extent now, and that's not our intention moving forwards.
Thank you for that. Do you wish to add anything? No. Okay, thank you. Have you any questions to the applicant, please?
I don't have any questions, but I do have a deposition to make.
Yeah, well, we'll come to that at the end.
you.
Okay, there'll be time for you to do that at the end.
Thanks.
I'm just asking for questions at this moment in time.
Thank
you. Anyone on Zoom want to ask a question?
Hello, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
My name is David Searle. May I ask, the licence is asked for 9 o'clock in the morning until 2300 hours, a drinking licence, that is. Would they envisage, despite what the lady said, having adults drinking at 9 o'clock in the morning and onwards?
Sorry. Thank you. Can you answer that, please?
Yep, of course. Hi, David. Yes, so we're applying from 9 until 11, as you said. We don't have a permanent, fully functioning bar on site. The reason we've gone from 9 is one, if we do birthday parties, christenings, and not that they'd start at 9 in the morning, we want that option to be able to offer bottles of beer, because we can do that from 12 o'clock now, or a bottle of Prosecco or champagne if we were to have family parties on site. It's also for amplified music. Again, that's not something we'd be doing from 9. We actually don't open until 10 o'clock. It's been put from 9 for greater flexibility to future-proof if there was an occasion where we need to open early. But I want to reassure you, we're not going to be an establishment that has people drinking from 9 o'clock in the morning or loud music from 9 in the morning.
Thank you very much. Any follow-up question? Are you happy with that?
May I ask a further question about the lights and the noise from the marquee itself?
Okay, ask your question. Thank you.
Is there any proposal to increase or improve the sound deadening from the marquee? Because that seems to be where most of the sound is escaping from, and is particularly audible in my property and the property of my neighbour here as well.
Yeah, so I don't know whether you've had a chance to read or not, but we have produced a noise management policy. So we are an outdoor venue, so there is little we can do in terms of soundproofing. What we have put in there is, if it becomes an issue, we can look at different setups of speakers, we can angle speakers down. I think it's also valid to point out it depends on the weather conditions as well, which way the wind is blowing. We try and turn the bass down as well, because I know that's what the undertone carries and can carry, and be mindful of our neighbours.
Mhm. Yes, I appreciate that. The further amplifying my point just a little further, we over this weekend you had Friday and Saturday particularly, you did have a couple of attractions running. There was a particularly loud, very audible tannoy system being used, which we could clearly hear, and you could understand the lady perfectly on the tannoy, and in particular you could hear the voice in the tracks in the music. And I appreciate that on certain conditions, with the wind prevailing and evening air conditions, etc., that noise will travel or escape easier. But I wondered if there was anything better that you could do to reduce the volumes that you appear to be generating now. And our concern, of course, is that if you sponsor a live music event, they inevitably will be significantly higher levels of music.
Thank you. So I think you'd class our events that happened over the weekend as live music events because we had live performers on stage. I'm not sure about the tannoy system. Can you tell me what time of day or when it was or what they were saying?
It was around 9:30. Yes, it was around about, well, practically through the evening, I would say, up until 8:30, 8:45, that sort of time. Periodic announcements were being heard, unless, of course, it's those on stage using the stage microphones. I mean, we can't identify per se what the system is that you are employing. It just sounds so clear that it must have been a tannoy. We might be making false assumptions here, but the point we're making is that it is very clear, and you can hear what the person's saying, and indeed you can hear the lyrics being sung in the songs. That's how clear it is.
Okay, thank you. We don't use a tannoy system, so I'm assuming that you're talking about the PA system that the singers are potentially using. So our singers finish at 7:45 currently in the evening. So our last performance finished at 7:45. Then we have a fire performance that goes on until about 8:15, and then it is ambient music in the background. I did check in with a neighbour on the other side of the road from you, who did contact me about the noise on Friday night. We made sure the bass was low. He seemed happy with that, and then checked in again on the Saturday night and said that he couldn't hear anything. The wind was considerably different on Friday and Saturday, because when I was in my house with my children, Friday night, I couldn't hear anything. Saturday night, I could hear a little bit of the noise. But again, like I said, it was all finished by 9:30.
Excuse me, can I put my 2 pence in? I'm David Hughes. I live at 70.
Excuse me, could you identify yourself, please? I can't see you or hear you.
Sorry?
Here we are.
We've been out Friday night. We're on our way home around 9 o'clock.
Is this a question? Excuse me. We can't ascertain here if you're asking a question or not.
Are you asking a question?
Well, I'm just saying that on Friday night, the noise was quite loud, and this was around 9 o'clock on my way home.
Okay, thank you.
It was on the corner of.
I'll have to stop you there because it's direct questions that we are at the moment in time. Have we got a direct question to the applicant?
Well, I'm just saying that the noise was loud on Friday night.
You got a direct question.
Right, thank you. You have a question.
Do you have a question?
Well, it's just loading. What you wanted you to say was convert what you were, make the point you were making, convert it into a question.
Yeah, I can't hear that.
Right. I live just across the road, and the music started at 5 o'clock on Friday night, and it was booming out. It was booming out till about 10:30. And I've got a friend that lives in Troon Way who he could hear it in his house. That's how loud it was. and Saturday.
So again, I ask you, could you direct your question, if it
Yeah.
is a question?
And if
To
you're
the
only open
applicant.
7 months, why have you got something on in October if you close in September? And what about Christmas?
So
I mean, I'm flooded with lights at Christmas.
sorry, so I said we're closed for 7 months of the year. So from September to March, we're predominantly closed and we're open for seasonal events.
But you're not, you were open in October, weren't you? On
Seasonal,
Friday.
that's seasonal events.
And you're open at Christmas, aren't you?
Seasonal events.
So you're not open 7 months, are you?
No, we're not open 7 months, no.
You're not
We're
closed for
closed
7 months.
with the exception of seasonal events. So I said at the start, 24 dates in that 7-month period we're open.
I mean, it's been bad enough all summer with the repetitive music you have.
Excuse me. You asked
Okay.
your question.
Yeah.
You've had your answer.
Right,
We'll
okay.
move on.
Okay.
Only.
No.
Chair, if I may just point out, it was mentioned that there's a drinks license. The Licensing Act authorises the sale of alcohol. Consumption is not a licensable activity. Consumption is a matter of personal responsibility.
Thank you, Mr. Donnelly. Have you another question? We'll come to your statement in a minute. Okay. Anybody on? Have you got a question, please? Online? No. I'm going to ask my colleagues now. Have you questions?
Thank you. Councillor Hannah Fleet. On the map, you have an area set out where your current licence is, and then on the map, there is an area set out with the current licence. It's indicated in blue, and there is another area for the extension of the licence, and I just would like to understand why that would be necessary. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. So our current licensed area where the stage is currently licensed and it's where it's staying, predominantly the amplified music, the most amplified music would be from. The reason we want to include the additional area outlined is to prevent us having to repeatedly put in for TENS notices. So we've been applying for the last 3 years for temporary event notices to cover that area. But I think it would be deemed that, yeah, sure.
I'd have to ask that again.
Okay. Yep. Is that any better?
Councillor Hannah, could you ask the question again so everybody's clear on what's going on?
So my question was why it was necessary to extend the boundary outlined in blue to the boundary outlined in yellow, which extends the area. Thank you.
Okay. So we've been running the event on this whole space for the last 3 years. So this is the 3rd year. And we've been applying for temporary event notices, TENS notices. Now, our events wouldn't be deemed as temporary anymore because they're well established. So this was also to tick the box of doing things through the proper channels. It's worth pointing out that there's more accountability if this area is within our licence and not under a temporary event notice. And it gives greater powers to regulators as well. The reason why it's there and why we want to include it is we want to offer Bailey's hot chocolate and mulled wine while families and our customers come and visit us and look at the Christmas lights or the Halloween trail and be able to walk around with it. Currently, we confine alcohol consumption to within our premises licensed area. So we stop people at our exit of our pumpkin market. You can't take drinks beyond that point. This is to allow us that they can walk around, also sell mulled wine, Bailey's hot chocolates. It's not that we have any plans to set up a bar on that side. And it's to tick the box that we're not continuing to apply for temporary events notices, which we could continue to do.
At this point, I think it's important that Mr. Donnelly will advise us the difference between a temporary event notice and this licence. I think that will help, John.
Thank you, Chair. A temporary notice is an application without any public consultation to the environmental health and police officers only. They're the only people who object to such a notice, and they have a very short period of time. There is no public involvement. The only action from the public is to make a complaint, if necessary, after the event. The premises license application as it is today involves public consultation, hence today's hearing, and members can apply conditions and/or the applicant can apply conditions or put policies in place to control measures. The applicant has already considered the public representations and put forward a noise policy. A number of the questions that have been asked have already been answered in that policy. This is the only time during this application period, unlike a temporary event notice where the public are involved.
Thank you, John. I think that's clear.
I must also advise that if the license isn't granted, the applicant can continue to apply temporary event notice for temporary event notices.
Thank you, John. I think it's important for us to realise that. Have we, Councillor Sharon, have you got a question, please?
Got two actually, but one runs into the other. I'm sure you've done lots of market research on the business. How many additional bookings do you envisage having changes to the license will bring? And what type of functions are you envisaging? I know it's hard to say without you going out there to the public, but obviously you've done your market research. What type of functions are you hoping to attract? Thank you. Or organise?
Yeah, thank you. So we're not looking to expand further than what we already do. So we have a successful Pumpkin Fest and Pumpkin Nights and our Christmas lights. So our Christmas night events as well. We have no aspirations to host weddings or parties. We don't need that. That's not our business. That's not our area of expertise or where we want to go. What we're doing isn't pioneering within the tourism industry, particularly within the farm park industry. There are multiple examples where this model is successful and works under similar licenses. Chester Zoo have a license to run their Christmas lights. It's similar circumstances again. In terms of extra bookings, it's not about the extra bookings because we already have a license to operate under and fulfill the requirement for Pumpkin Fest and our Christmas events as well. The main reasons are for flexibility. Last year, I don't know if you recall the storms and the bad weather we had. It closed our event because of the severe weather warnings on a number of occasions where we couldn't safely open. Now, it's not practical for us to just put on another night. It is impossible getting the bands, the acts, the relevant temporary event notices for additional nights if we haven't already applied for those. It's not feasible to run those on just a different night. So by having this in place, it would allow us to offer extended entry times. We currently stop allowing people to come in at, is it 7 or half 7? 7 o'clock is our cut-off time. So everyone who's coming to the event is in by 7 o'clock. It would allow us to extend potentially to 8 o'clock and then close maybe half an hour later to offer a different time for them to come in on a different night where there isn't a severe weather warning and we are able to operate. Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you for that. Now we come to, I have no questions, by the way, all right, so we'll move on now. You can now make your statement and then followed by the applicants can ask you questions or we can ask you questions. Thank you.
My name's Norma Bucock and I thank you for giving me this opportunity to address you all. I have to begin my exploration of this proposal by looking at the responses given by the public when I placed the notice on the Abergele Notice Board site on Facebook with regard to the proposed application. My thanks must go to Jules for using this as a foundation for the support for the proposal. There are, I count, 35 people who have responded to the Facebook page I posted. Not one of those people has given any consideration to those of us who may have to live with these new and unwelcome licensing requests. Neither has one of them offered or admitted to living in any close proximity to Manor Farm Park. There is, however, one person who has given some concern to the animals which are kept there. So regardless of how much they enjoy visiting the venue, this cannot be counted as admissible evidence in the light of the licensing objections represented and made about the crime and disorder, public safety, prevention of public nuisance, or the protection of children from harm, which are the primary licensing objectives represented and responded to by those living in the immediate, nay extensive area around Manor Farm Park. Neither have any one of the 35 people who made admissions to Facebook written to Conway Borough Council supporting in any way the proposals to extend the alcohol and music licences already prevailing. It would appear from researching the Colwyn Borough Council site that there are grounds for appeal against certain requests from commercial properties, against loud music at unreasonable times of day, and 2, against artificial light, which is termed as a nuisance in their guidelines. The principal written and owned objectives seem to be the unreasonable noise levels which people have had to endure from excessive music projected through loudspeakers, which have had to be endured whenever Manor Holiday Camp, in the words of one objector, is in operation. Examples from these letters of dissension to the proposals are as follows. The proposals will provide a huge leap from what is already barely tolerable noise. The noise travels directly to the neighbourhood property. Noise levels will increase over longer periods. Music is already a nuisance and preventing essential sleep. The establishment already produces unwelcome noises. Summer noise levels emanate from the dinosaur event. Appropriate noise levels should be set. It has been noticed that there will be an already advertised open-air night event with a live band on the 19th of October. A noise management policy has been submitted. It reads, the PA system will be adjusted to limit the noise that may carry. In my view, this is an admission that noise levels not just may, but will carry, and as we already know, will be unacceptable to the surrounding area. Even this weekend, the noise levels have been unacceptable. There was an extremely severe wind problem which created much noise on Saturday night. Yet we were still subjected to noise pollution inside our house, which interfered with our evening's entertainment. I wrote to Manor online in this respect and have had no response. Comments about artificial light. Light pollution has already been noticed after only a few days of the dinosaur event being opened for the Pumpkin Fest. Continuous bright and flashing lights can cause serious ill health. This is an aside. There is a dark nights policy in practice on the island of Sark in the Channel Islands. If a person stands on the outskirts of the populated area there, the island of Guernsey can be seen as a bright beacon across the sea. The previous comparison highlights the significance of light pollution, which will affect the residents of the immediate area adjacent to Manor which they're going to have to cope with during the operating hours of the farm park, especially with those who have children who sleep immediately opposite the park. You will have already noticed that there is a great deal of emphasis placed by objectors upon the request made to extend the alcohol licence, which purports its availability for 14 hours each day. These plans are met with dismay and horror on the part of those written objectors to the proposal. For example, the effects on children and the problems which could arise through inebriation, possible drugs-related problems, and the abuse of vulnerable adults, and those for whom this has already become a mental health issue. If the proposed extend to the music and alcohol licence go through, there could be serious safeguarding issues to contend with, and I am the safeguarding officer for my church. In my view, the above remarks are evidence of public nuisance and unreasonable disruptive noise levels. They most definitely contribute a very significant subscription and encompass more than adequately the 4 licensing objectives to which they have put forward intelligent and sustainable arguments. The request for the extension of the music and alcohol licence should be, with respect, refused without any possibility of appeal. And to the best of my knowledge, the words that I have spoken are true. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Very comprehensive. Could I ask the applicant if you want to ask questions, please?
Yeah, I just have one question. Do I get a chance to make a statement at the end? Yeah, okay. Sorry, Mrs. Bucock, you said you've written to us. Can you tell me when and to what channel? Because I don't think that we've received that. So through the website, you've emailed us yesterday. Okay, sorry, we haven't received that yet, so that's why you've not had a response, but.
Yes, Mr. Donnelly.
Chair, for guidance for everybody. It's a matter for the members to decide what weight is given to any evidence that's submitted. There is no vicinity test within the Licensing Act. Any person anywhere may support or object to a licence application. It doesn't have to be local residents. It can be anywhere in the UK. With regard to the animals, that's not a matter of consideration unless the animals are protected. The animals are protected by the Animal Welfare Act, and the premises is licensed as a zoo and must meet the extremely stringent conditions with regard to protection of those animals. The lights are a matter of planning and environmental health, and complaints should be made directly to planning and environmental health unless they're used for health and safety purposes and part of the application. Public health, unfortunately, at this moment in time, is not a matter of consideration under the Licensing Act, although you members may take into consideration anything that is said.
Thank you, Mr. Donnelly. You have no other questions? No. Councillor Sharon, have you a question? Mike.
My only question is, are there any instances where the police have been called or the authorities have been called due to any activity at Manravon? Thank you.
Unfortunately, not to my knowledge. In 2022, I was suffering from breast cancer and have been off the map for quite some time. And my husband was very seriously ill with Parkinson's, and I've been nursing him, and I haven't had time nor energy to be able to take notice of all these things. I'm not constantly prying through my windows, and my husband died on the 29th of June, and so therefore I'm sorry I've not been taking notice, if you like.
Perhaps you could help in answering that.
Yeah, John, did you want?
Sorry, I
Sorry.
didn't see.
If I may, Chair, the North Wales Police are a responsible authority under the Licensing Act and we're a consultee. There's been no representations from North Wales Police with regard to this application.
And you haven't been visited by the police?
Nope, no police or any council authority visited us with any,
You.
no intervention needed.
Councillor Hannah, have you got a question? No. Right, we're at the point of procedure where you may make your closing speech.
Sorry, Chair. I think in case yes, and
There are 3 or 4 objectors, so they may all wish to put forward their objection.
I understand somebody wants to ask a question online.
Sorry, no, it's just for their statement, yeah.
The statement online, sorry, yes. Do you wish to make a statement? Those people online.
My name is David Searle. I would like to make a statement.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Is that okay, Chair? May I go on?
Fine, carry on.
Yes. We haven't been here very long, not since 22. We moved in at the winter of 23, so it's just over 18 months. And in that time, through the summer holidays, particularly, there is a significant audio presence from the farm. So much so that it can be distracting enough for you to leave the garden and return home. We've had additional 28mm double glazing fitted. And even with that new AA+, we are still able to hear the farm when it is operating through those windows. And we are particularly 200 metres, I would say, from the lights. And yet the lights at the top of the marquee are still visible in our rooms, which unfortunately face directly onto the park. And I would ask that the farm, if they are to continue with this proposal, that they significantly reconsider the positioning of the lights and any appropriate action necessary or recommended by the committee to reduce the sound levels. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Is anyone else have a statement?
Can I say something, please?
Yes, sure. Carry on.
David Hughes. I'm a resident. I live at 72 Clifton Rise. As I said earlier, on Friday night when we was travelling home, there was quite a few neighbours out on the street listening to the music. They couldn't understand what was going on. And the floodlights were almost like a football ground with these floodlights. So really the floodlights need to be toned down, and also the music level needs to be toned down. I mean, I would say that 90% of the residents are, they're old people, they're pensioners. And we don't really want to be listening to this sort of music day and night, especially in the night. So I've no objections against this, providing it's in the right place. And in the middle of an housing estate, in my opinion, isn't the right place. So that's my concern, that it shouldn't be where it is. It's in the wrong place.
Thank you for that. Do you want to respond?
Yes, please. David,
Yes.
you're talking about the lights.
Yeah.
So from the marquee, we have festoon lights. Is it the floodlights you're talking about in the car park?
Although I don't really know, I could only see it from the main road. But it was like a long, tall stand with floodlights.
Yep, no, absolutely. So
even though it's pointing into the ground, you can still see it from the main road.
Yeah.
Where you live.
Yeah, so the floodlights are for health and safety, for access to and from the car park. Our event is lit by festoon lights. However, if you want to, after this, come and visit us, we can look at the lights and look to lower them or re-angle them. I wasn't aware that it was an issue for you, and welcome any residents or neighbours to get in touch with us so we can work with you.
Well, if I can say, if you put the lights on and you walk round the main street at night, you'll see what we're talking about. You obviously haven't had a look at what's going on from the main road. You're only looking at what's going on inside your premises and not what we've got to look at from the main road.
Yeah, like I said, I'd welcome anyone who is finding a disturbance to come to us so we can work with you and try and mitigate it as best we can whilst keeping visitors safe.
I think that's quite a reasonable suggestion if you would like to meet up after and sort it out between you. Thank you. Here we go.
Yes, it's my main concern is the music and the lights. It's just non-stop. The music has been all summer. It's just repetitive. I've spent a lot of money on my back garden this year, and there's no pleasure in sitting in it. I also get foam coming over when you have parties. It just ruins it. And then the next thing I've got is Christmas with art lights straight in my lounge. It's just not on. The property I've got was my mother and father's, and they bought it over 30 years ago. And over the wall was a farm, and now it's a theme park. It's just not on for people.
Well, we'll take that into consideration, but Mr.
you.
Donnelly wants to say something?
I would just have to reiterate, Chair and members, that the matter of lighting is a health and safety matter for the premises and also a matter of planning permission. It's an amenity, so this matter must have been discussed at planning. So it's a separate legislation and not a consideration in this hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Donnelly. Is that clear? Did you get that? It's a matter for planning, really, not for here. Okay. Not this committee, but yeah. We'll discuss that after. Okay. Would you like to make a closing speech then, please? If you want to.
I would like to say, however, that the site at Manor is very well laid out. It is just in the wrong place, unfortunately. This year, the walkway has been moved so that it comes directly under my wall, all the way up. I've no doubt that it's within the correct boundaries, but Jules has stated that they will be allowing alcoholic drinks to be carried around the site. Therefore, anyone who becomes inebriated will be walking directly under my wall, and who knows what might come from that situation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Chair, can I
Jules,
just?
yeah, you can make a
Yeah,
closing
no, just
statement, but you want to answer?
Just an answer, yeah.
Thank you.
So, just to point out, we've had a temporary events notice, so we've been allowing people to walk around with alcoholic drinks for the past 2 years, and I don't think there's been any issues for you, as far as I'm aware, from that.
You have moved the walkway.
And it's been there. That's the path that our customers have taken for the last 2 years.
But you now have covered that over, and you're going to allow people with alcohol to walk around the site, which will encompass under my wall.
No, we haven't moved the pathway. It's the same path that has been taken for the last 2 years.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that. Now you may make your closing statement.
Sorry, Chair.
Is there anybody else?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I think they were talking to. That's fine. Okay, carry on.
Okay, so I think we've spoken about most things that I had notes I wanted to cover, but just want to reiterate that we are a local family business. The family has actually been at Manor Avon conducting tourism-based business since the 1940s. My husband and I are the third generation. If our children, who are very young at the minute, decide to carry it on, obviously there'll be fourth generation there to be continuing on the site. We pride ourselves on being a reputable, approachable business. We have industry experts who support us on all matters of animal welfare, health and safety, HR. We're a big employer in the local area. We currently have 122 people employed by us as well. We operate under numerous licenses to keep us accountable, one being our current premises license. We are part of our industry NAFAN, our AAA assurance scheme, as well as other local authority and health and safety directives that are sent down through local government common inspectors annually as well. We wouldn't do anything to to put that reputation in jeopardy. And we certainly don't want to upset neighbours. Of the objections that came in, Mrs. Bucock is the only person that's ever had contact with us, and I was unaware that we are causing disruption to anybody else in the local area. So nobody has contacted us directly other than Mrs. Bucock, who, when you did contact us, we try and work with you. I wasn't there. Megan spoke to you. I called back on my return just to try and check in. And that's the same with anybody who would call us for us to try and work with you. We value our local community and would consider ourselves a key part of that as well. My children are growing up in this local community. We don't want to alienate or upset anybody. So just for future reference, I would welcome anyone who does have any concerns to talk to me. We are approachable, email, phone, and we'll see what we can do to help mitigate what is upsetting anybody. I'd also like to point out that although I know other licenses can't be taken into consideration, but our neighbours actually have licence beyond what we're asking for. So Abergele Golf Club can go to 1 o'clock in the morning with alcohol, music, plays, sporting entertainment. And exactly, we're not planning on being open until 11 o'clock, 7 days a week, or even at 11 o'clock anyway. We're putting it in for flexibility. We currently close at 9:30, or we stop serving alcohol at 9. Griff Castle, again, our neighbours, open air. They have a licence till 1 o'clock in the morning throughout the week. And outside from to 1 o'clock in the morning on Friday and Saturday, amplified music.
Again, I'm sure John will come in here and say, you're not supposed to take that into consideration, or
No.
he won't take it into consideration.
No. Just to point
Thank
out
you.
to the neighbours
No,
that we're not going to be, there are neighbours to us all that go beyond what we're asking for. And I just want to reassure everybody that we're not looking to open a 7 days a week nightclub, public house, just continue to operate as we already do and as we're already currently licensed to do, but give us greater flexibility and tick the box that we're not applying for temporary event notices when it should really be within this license.
Well, thank you very much. That concludes the public part of this meeting. John, do you want to come in again?
Yes, please, Chair. I will clarify for the minutes that members cannot take into account the operation of other premises because you will not be aware of what conditions apply to those premises. I'd also advise the members that the location of the farm park is a matter of planning and not a consideration for this hearing either. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you for that. That concludes the public part of this meeting. We will now retire to deliberate. The only people that will be there will be myself, my colleagues, and Catherine, our legal aid, our legal solicitor. Sorry, I call you legal aid. Thank you very much for your presence, and we will let you know within 5 working days. Okay? Thank you very much, everybody.